Hello, welcome to Chrysalis Invictus Tarot. Before we get started, I'd like to call in my guides, your guides, ancestors, energies, entities who are with us today and always to come in and show us or help us to understand whatever messages we need right now in the collective, and to acknowledge that the freedom to use these tools of divination is not extended to all people, and to send healing back or to or forward to those who are persecuted for the use of these tools. And so this reading feels important to me, and perhaps it is important in the bigger picture, as there is a huge shift occurring right now. And so what do we need to know? The Two of Stones. Challenge. The old system and the new are coming into conflict with one another. And this conflict has been avoided by the old system for a long time. It's been kept at bay. We have the Queen of Stones. It's incredible because the thing that I am sensing as a shift, and the thing that I am going to later speak on today, is the literally the Queen and the Lovers. So in mainstream media and all media right now, Meghan and Harry versus the Queen is one of the biggest stories, and we see this played out here. And what can we learn from this story? And what do we see here? The Queen of Stones holds a space, holds a certain comfort, holds a certain tradition as a Taurus energy. The Forest Lovers, their hands are bound, and between them there is this symbol of nature, this tree, a channel of energy from crown to the earth. And their hands are on their hearts. And so they're trusting and listening to their hearts. But you also see that there is a paw close to the heart of the bear. And so there's something in this old system, there's this something in this there is heart there. There is something that speaks to the heart of those who belong to the old system. And this new and fresh energy of choice, of only binding by one side. Like, this is like my own heart. I connect to my own heart as I connect to you. One hand in sacred union, one hand to the self. Both are in heart-centered places, or both are connecting to the heart. Both are feeling this in their heart. both sides experience grief. You know, if this stone that the bear stands on, if it falls, it's still the bear falling. Whether that bear had previously killed someone or done horrible things, it's still allowed to feel scared when it falls. And this bear is alone. And there is the unity here of two. I'm going to get some clarifiers. The sun's setting here. My alarm went off, so we had a little bit of I teach at 6 and it's 5:30 in the morning. But I could not sleep. I had to do this reading. The King of Wands, or King of Vessels. I don't know why I said King of Wands. The King of Vessels to clarify the Queen of Swords. We are in need of love. And this nurturing masculine energy. The masculine who is comfortable with big emotions, with expressing love, family, intuition. For me, the King of Vessels is very much a masculine that's comfortable with the feminine, or being feminine, who is both lovers together. This is powerful. Yeah. So the Two of Stones, this juggling act, this challenge, this thing that has been avoided for enough time is now in full swing. The Archer is protective of the balance of things. So the Archer is protective of the cycle of, I was explaining to my daughter the other day, we found like a torn up rabbit, and she said, oh, that rabbit probably had a family. Like, but the fox or the coyote that killed the rabbit also had a family to feed. And that there is this aspect to nature where you have to survive. And both of these hares in this conflict here are trying to survive. And the Nine of Arrows also came out to clarify this. The Nine of Arrows in this deck is dedication. But it also makes me think of, this would be ordinarily the Nine of Swords. And that sense of like anxiety and losing sleep. And there's another alarm going off. I have multiple alarms. to make me, in the winter, to get out of bed. So the sense of dedication for me is a dedication to understanding, is our dedication, our pledge, our choice to really and truly understand these energies, and to understand this balance, and to understand our part in this balance. So whether, you know, you're the bear, or whether you're the lovers, whether you're this hair or that hair, you know, whatever side you stand on, to have compassion and understand the needs of the other. Empathize with the needs of the other. And this is not easy, because there are so many different feelings and factors. And there's also a lot of information flying around. So this is like, you know, if I'm taking it, and I am, you know, as a 9 of Swords energy, which is hilarious, because that's what brought me to the table to do this reading, is that I've been up since 3 in the morning, just like going over all of these different things in this shift that's occurring right now. Wow, powerful, 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 powerful. To clarify, the forest lovers is the green man. This is the Emperor. So this is the system of power. This to me is signifying, and again, I was really getting that this is the future energy. The forest lovers is the future energy, and it's clarified by the Emperor. This is the new power system, where there's you and me connected to our hearts separately, with this symbol of nature between, and then bound on one side. We are connected, yet we are separate. We come into this place of love to allow the old systems of power to try to restore a balance. And there's always this swinging in the opposite direction. You know, in a fight between these two hairs, we would see, you know, one triumph over the other. The old is fighting to hold strong to that tradition, but this is the last. The tower is crumbling. This entire reading is about the tower. So let's see if we can get any advice. The 8 of Vessels, rebirth. Yeah. As best we can to embrace this shift, as best we can to get into that emotional space and acknowledge what it is that we are going to mourn the loss of. What are we going to grieve? It's not enough to say, I leave this behind and then it was bad. I just leave it behind. It's like when someone dies that you had maybe even a difficult relationship with, someone who, maybe you had a lot of conflict with. That's considered complicated grief because that person is gone, but there's still a grief to be acknowledged there. The connection had an impact on your life and it's bound to ripple. And so it's the same here. Wherever you stand, if you are aligned with the old or with the new, that there is some part of yourself that is aligned with each. And so what is the old? That is, maybe you're not hanging on to the old. Maybe you've already pushed that bear off the ledge and you're like, it's gone. Eight of Vessels is walking away from something that has meaning, that has significance, that is like spiritually or emotionally significant. A spiritual or emotional shift. And it's great because it's leading toward wish fulfillment, like it's getting to the good stuff. But emotionally, it's hard. Or it can be hard. And this could be about, holding space for others' grief, holding space for others' anger. Maybe it's not your own emotions. Maybe it's understanding, like if we think of old systems as being like our parents or our grandparents, it's holding space for them and having compassion for them, that this is all they've known. Not to say that it shouldn't happen, but this is all that they've known. And that is an emotional movement away. And then wow, the Nine of Vessels. And here the self is at the center. This is a whole and integrated self that is abundant. That's what I see here with the heart. And then the binding is that these are whole people within themselves. This is, checking what your wishes and desires are, being compassionate and intuitive about the needs and wishes of others. One more card for advice, please. The Page of Vessels. This is free expression of that love and support. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. This is free and full expression of the feelings and thoughts, even if you're not, I'm the kind of person where if it's a big thing, I want to have it thought out. Like I want to know where I stand. I don't like to come forward. If it's a big thing, I don't like to come forward with incomplete sense of things, but this is leading from the heart, so leading with love. And so it's not stepping back into that defensive place of intellect or thinking. It's leading with the heart and heart-based messages and sending your love back and sending your love forward, which is, kind of funny that that's what I have been called to do in my introductions, is to call in history and future and the people that have been persecuted and the people who have had acknowledged the power systems, acknowledge the privileges. And this is sending love back and forth between both. I feel like I want to get two more oracle cards here before I close the reading. So much heart here, and when you step into the place of thought, and that's just not the way to deal with this shift, is what I'm hearing. This shift is about the heart. Patience. Wait for the fruit to ripen. I'm really getting this is about patience in learning, patience with others. Maybe it's patience with ourselves, that we are, you know, in a big shift that we may not immediately know what to say or do, or that the people around us may not know what to say or do. You know, this, I see this a lot. This is something to speak on. I see this a lot if you're on Facebook or something like that, and people say, how are people like this? How are people like that? You know, how can you do this, or how can you do that? Or, you know, and it's like, have you, we can educate, we can introduce ideas, but we have to have patience with ourselves and with others to allow things to unfold. You know, sometimes people don't see things that are directly in front of their face. Generosity, yeah. Sow seeds of kindness. Instead of canceling someone, maybe saying, you know, I don't understand you. Maybe you don't make space for them in your life, but still sending them this love and kindness, these messages of love, or this energy of love. It's not going to benefit us to close our hearts, is what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you have to have no boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to, you know, continue to follow people who have, you know, really like ignorant points of view, or, but it does help to understand your opponent. Adapt. Wow. Yeah. You will get yourself where you want to be. Holding on to these old structures isn't going to help. I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know, you know, down below if you have anything to add to this. This feels like a conversation, so if you have anything to add, and thank you so much for joining. Take care.